Greetings to our beloved lecturer, Dr. Fiza binti Abdul Rahim. We from Group 3 would like to present to you our topic for today, cybersecurity challenges in transportation industry, with my cooperative team members who are Valerie Jesumani, Priscilla Winston, and Amrin Shami. Moving on, let's start with the definition. First and foremost, let's take a look at the definition. Countermeasure is an action, device, procedure, and technique that is a method to reduce vulnerability, or also known as an attack. Next, access control, physical security, and information security are the selective restriction of access to a place or a resource where access management states the process. Moving on, insider threat is a security risk within the targeted organization. This depends on the types of insider threats. If it's compromised user, careless users, or malicious users. It is said that when an insider intentionally or unintentionally misuses the access granted negatively, then it affects the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the specific organizations. To be more specific of the types of threat, the topic that we will be discussing today are countermeasures, access control security, and insider threat. That's all from me. Thank you. Let me pass to the next presenter.
The factors that in the countermeasures will be the weakness, backward compatibility, vehicle repair, maintenance, sufficient implementation details, and acceptable overhead. The former promising gave the impression to be who had that is not backward compatible and resistant. That is backward compatible, however, may not to be performant. Resistance takes the approach of the utilizing maintenance support, sufficient implementation details, and no excessive overhead, whereas although the extended protocol to permit additional space for authentication codes. The segmentation provides management over United National Agency will access the explicit subnet network and scale back to the harm of the actor by the limiting its unfold. The interconnection between the subnetworks is controlled via entrance. This model presently exists in the business vehicles. The strategy is a straightforward to implement. However, it's not effective if the entrance is a compromise or manipulated just like the hacking exhibited. The paper had hidden the protection within a subnetwork. However, it's a potential to implement a repair attack in a very subnetwork and attacks the OC subnetworks, bypassing the protection check. The protection of general automotive bus systems will be applied to the most. This suggestion will reduce the damage of the attack by limiting its snacks. Moving to the next topic will be the access control security. There are listed many necessities for access management. The misplaced listing of secure of the e-maintenance knowledge thanks to wrong access management could lead on to the exodius scenarios where this data can be exploited for potential leakage of the safety of the infrastructure. The far side of the geographical borders will be extending the management of knowledge. It is identifying the security risk in the global ODS with telematic system that enable drivers to remotely unlock and unlock the intimidation, low speed will and access the enable drivers to remotely unlock and lock car doors, start and stop the car engine using the low speed cans and is access the identity information using the high speed cans. Adds the practical to the altered report, door gap, and GPS tracking, so dispute the altered code. Victims then can install the change code and then exposes them to remote attacks. Next, I would like to pass to the next presenter.
Transportation industry in cybersecurity can be exploited when there is an insider threat. This is referred to CAN frames that can be encrypted. Thus can be studied by attackers to locate system entry points. Second, CAN does not support message authentication. Recipients of messages are not given information about validity of the source, meaning that illegitimate frames can be sent without being detected. Examination above been made based on these altered protocols in light of 5 criteria for potential CAN message authentication solution from an industry perspective. The criteria are cost effectiveness, backward compatibility, vehicle repair and maintenance, sufficient implementation details and acceptable overhead. The authors found that no solution met ill the criteria, but the most promising seemed to be WUALT, which is not backward compatible, and VTCAN, which is backward compatible but might not be performant. VTCAN takes the approach of utilizing maintenance support, sufficient implementation details, and no excessive overhead, while WUAL after the extended CAN protocol to allow more for authentication codes. The authors ultimately suggest that the CAN disk might be fundamentally unsuited for secure communication. Next, Present utilizes the extended CAN protocol, meaning that the firmware would have to be updated. Introduce an IDS known as voltage IDS, which takes advantage of ECU signal inconsistency to first undergo training and testing phases in which signal characteristic will be identified, and second, use the training data in order to verify whether or not ECUs have been compromised. For future research and conclusion, by collecting literature and summarizing the research is at today and that needs to be done, future researchers as well as people from the vehicle industry and the users of vehicle can gain knowledge. This work was written to be informative and fill and express need for overviews of information security risks, as many had taken it upon themselves to analyze part of vehicle without putting them into relation with each other and showing the big picture. Next, it is important to show the connection of risk and security of each software and hardware as well as the users of vehicle to see it from another perspective. We know that complex systems require elaborate information, security thinking and planning. An attack on the availability of information systems within the vehicle security could lead to carrying degrees of danger to the user of vehicle. The new era of vehicles being dependent on information rather than fuel, figuratively speaking, brings concern that are yet to be responded to you many years. Lastly, by pointing out the gaps from several studies, part of the background work for future research has been completed with this report. Future research should be based on the found knowledge gaps where research has fallen behind or is simply not present. By filling these gaps, we can gain a better understanding and a full picture of the security possibilities and limitations that comes with the future of cyber vehicle infrastructure. The conclusion is there is increasing trend on emphasis of cyber security, especially in area of IT and information systems due to digitalization of vehicle industries. Those issues with IT is bundled with the issues related to the physical infrastructure. Hence, this summarize raises several threats, challenges, vulnerabilities, and risks in the vehicle industries. Some of the existing methods to secure the data is also brief. Due to above aforementioned factors, there is a necessary need to concentrate on the issues of cybersecurity in vehicle industries. In vehicle industries, there is a vital need for incorporating cybersecurity protection systems to reduce these threats and vulnerabilities. The extension of this work is to develop a comprehensive framework with including all the above issues into account. All right, that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.